Hey guys, in this video, we'll discuss about scaling concepts in cloud for data engineering, which is really very important when we start our data engineering journey, be it on any cloud. So let's start with the agenda. First, we will understand what are the cloud key characteristics, what is vertical scaling, what is horizontal scaling, when we should go for vertical scaling, when we should go for the horizontal scaling, right? Then we will understand how you automate the scaling part. And at the end, we'll understand about fault tolerance and its disaster recovery management on the cloud. Before I start this topic, if you are interested to learn about data engineering, you can reach out to us on the below details and let's start the session.
Now let's understand the concepts of a cloud, right? If at all we come to Azure, what are that we'll be getting, we'll understand these concepts. And these concepts are very, very, very important for interview purpose, right? You will leverage these concepts directly in company, in projects, but interview purpose also very, very, very important, right? The one thing why people come to cloud is for that we are going to cover now, okay? One is for scalability. Correct? Everyone knows what scalability is, correct? Scalability is nothing like a service or a website which is handling some X amount of users. Now, on next day or upcoming future, it has to allow more people, right? That is called scalable. I need to scale up the resources. Okay. A Maruti Desire can max withhold like 4 to 5 people. But if at all I wanted to fit in 7 to 8 people, that particular car is not enough. I need to go for a bigger one, or I need to go for 2 cars. You getting my point? I can either go for 2 cars or I need to go for a bigger one. Right? Why did I take this analogy is to explain you the concept of scalability called vertical scaling, horizontal scaling. Remember this concept there. This is very, very important. Let's talk about vertical scaling first. I have a computer, okay, where I have deployed some piece of code. Okay, let's assume it's a ticketing system. I wanted to go on a vacation. I wanted to book tickets. So that code I have developed and I have deployed into this machine. On one day, 10 users came. Next day, 110 users came. It is able to capable. But during the festival or a long weekend, 1,000 users came. Will this system help? It will crash. It cannot manage this much load. So what is the one option I can have? I can increase this system. When I say I can increase the RAM, input, output, processing, storage, everything I can increase. Okay. Now I have improved this website to multiple places. Let's say so far this particular website, this booking.com was leveraged only in one place. Let's say X. I wanted to deploy this website in other places as well. Let's say Y. Now again the load will increase. This system is not enough. Again I need to increase more. Right? Here, the underlying factor that you need to see is it's the same machine and I'm increasing the resources. That is called vertical scaling. What is horizontal scaling? It's the same machine, but I'm incrementing the resources. In this case, first I'll go with 1, next I'll go with 2, next I'll go with 3, next I'll go with 4. That's the reason I gave you an analogy of a car. Initially, any car can withhold 4 to 5 people. If at all I wanted to put more people, I can either go for a bigger car, I need to go for multiple cars. Let's say I'm starting something on my own for the first time, right? I don't expect anyone to create some hundreds and hundreds of machines and do all of that. Start with verticals. Any business you start with limited users. Understand the flow, understand the usage patterns. Underline this word, understand the usage patterns. How are they using? Is my website heavily used on morning or evening or night or what? Or during what days, weekends? You have to understand that usage patterns so that you can decide properly. Okay. So your website is going in a tangential direction. You go for a vertical scaling. Vertical scaling is very easy, right? You just need to increase the resources for that particular thing. So go for it. Understand the user problems. Note down. Then you go for a horizontal scaling, right? The moment you go for a horizontal scaling, things becomes little easy for you to maintain and all. Right? The first thing, users will never complain. They'll never complain like, hey, I'm not able to, your service is not working or something, because there always another machine for you to on a standby mode. There's always another machine to help you out, even though one machine goes for a toss. Okay. This I am telling when your service has gone to a good heights, want to go for a horizontal scaling. Let's say you are in the very initial phase of career. I don't want to go for horizontal scaling because horizontal scaling comes with additional cost. You need to spin up everything from the scratch again. Same machine scale up needs downtime. That's the reason I said you can do this in your initial analysis. Okay, when you're going with an initial days, you understand the users, some set of users. That is called flighting. In any organization, when you release a product, you don't release it to a public. There is something called private. Okay, only few set of users. Only few set of managing few set of users is very easy. It's not big difficult. Okay, when it goes to a public, managing that public is difficult. And again, vertical scaling is also well suited when you are assume if at all you feel if this particular entire machine goes for a toss, I can still get my users back. I can still get my data back. Then you can happily go with vertical scaling. If at all you feel like, no, my users are very important, I cannot get my users back. If at all they feel they are lost, then go for horizontal scaling. Right? So there are equal pros and cons everywhere. All you need to decide is on the requirement. What's the requirement you had, and how do I deal with it, guys? So this is called vertical scaling. If at all you go to any interview, don't think they'll just ask a definition. They will put you in some situation. This is a situation. What do you choose? No, you need to think in all these aspects: performance aspects, cost aspect, user aspects, availability aspects, everything. Then only you will be graded marks. They won't grade you for telling whether you said horizontal or vertical. They are least bothered whether you said horizontal or vertical. They're only bothered when you say why you require horizontal, why you require vertical. You're getting me, guys? That's the reason I'm asking. Whenever you say answer, tell me the reason. Right? Again, end of the day, there is no good answer or a bad answer. Right? It all depends on the requirement. So the interviewer will expect you like, why did you choose that? Right? Now, if at all, most of you said something, right? Someone said vertical scaling. You could have said, I would go for vertical scaling because I cannot afford for horizontal scaling. It's a valid reason. It's a valid reason, right? Users are secondary. First of all, you should afford, right? Right? So you need to come up with valid reasons when you try to give answers in the interviews. Okay, cool. And now let's say someone is talking about the downtime. I cannot have downtime at all. Then there is no option for you to go other than horizontal scaling. One line answer, that is also enough because you have valid reason. And then there is a concept called elasticity. If you see this particular diagram, at any point of time, scaling up, scaling down is a task, correct? There are automatic scaling as well, right? But most of the scenarios, if at all you wanted to spin up additional system, right? What do? You need to go there and spin up additional machines and put that code in that machine, and it will tell users, "Hey, I've spinned up an additional machine." But what if, imagine, based on the user load, if it spins up the resources, how beautiful it is. You're getting my point? Let's say my website is a booking website, movie ticket booking website. Okay, any website you think, right? That has a very less traffic on the early mornings or late nights. Let's go with some assumption. So that time I don't want more machines. I just need one machine to support. There should be something. Very rarely someone logs in at midnight 2 a.m. and he books a ticket. Agree with me? Very rare until unless he has got some emergency. Right? So at that time I don't need to have many machines. Let's go with one machine. Okay. There are cases at some time like early morning after 10, 11, few people will start to okay, let's spin two machines. At the peak time is afternoon, let's spin three machines. This is called automatic scaling. Based on the user load, the machines will pick up. Right? You can have some configurations in your system, and this is possible, and you can do that. Right? So even Databricks as well has automatic scaling. All that is possible in all the services now, and you can leverage it. So I just wanted to think in mind there is something called automatic scaling, which is possible in cloud computing. Third thing is concept which you need to understand is fault tolerance, which is very, very important. And that's the only reason why people prefer cloud computing, right? So you have machines, and let's say like, users are trying to access it. Okay. And now you are trying to access this machine, but it has some faulty error that had happened, and you cannot access this machine. Anything that happened, it's like a fault, something fault has happened. And how can we get rid of it is called a horizontal scaling, where we spin up extra machines. Okay. So that is called horizontal scaling, which we spoke here. So anything, a fault can occur anytime, which would cause the outage is called a fault tolerance. How do we come back from that problem is called disaster recovery. Okay. So now let's talk about disaster recovery. What is disaster recovery? disaster recovery can occur when there is a natural calamities outside, like a tsunami, an earthquake. That is natural. Manual is someone making a big mistake to the existing machinery. That entire machinery will go off. Right? So at that point of time, what usually people does is they would replicate the data. Right? Why am I talking is now let's say I have my set of users 50% of users in India, 50% of users in US. So I will replicate my machines both in India and US, and I will make sure Indians connect to Indian systems, US connect to US system, which is good because Indian systems are locating very near in the map. When I say that for a person in India to access a resource in US, it's a lot of time. Imagine the request response, how much of network bandwidth and all, right? Imagine a resource is deployed in India only, so they can easily access it, which is good. Now, let's say if this machine in India went for a toss, as the replication is already there in US, sellers will not face any problem. Yes, they might face a little performance problem, which is okay at that point of time, but sellers are not completely outbroken. Correct? They're still able to manage their resources. How they are doing because of the replication strategy. This is called disaster recovery. Even though disaster has completely occurred on one region, we can still make sure we are out of that disaster via a concept called disaster recovery and replication strategies. Okay, so these are the major concepts that you need to keep in mind.